Argument. Noun. 1. Countable, uncountable. A conversation or discussion in which two or more people disagree, often angrily. To win, lose an argument. After some heated argument, a decision was finally taken. Argument with somebody, about, over something. We had an argument with the waiter about the bill. Argument with somebody. She got into an argument with the teacher. Related entries. Anger. 2. Countable. A reason or set of reasons that somebody uses to show that something is true or correct. Her main argument was a moral one. Argument for, against something. There are strong arguments for and against euthanasia. Argument that. His argument was that public spending must be reduced. Related entries. Linguistic devices. 3. Uncountable. Argument about something. The act of disagreeing in a conversation or discussion using a reason or set of reasons. Let's assume for the sake of argument, in order to discuss the problem, that we can't start still much. Related entries. Linguistic devices. Extra examples. As I see it, his argument boils down to a combination of two basic points. Centralized government, so the argument goes, is too far removed from the problems of ordinary citizens. Do you have any evidence to support your argument? He felt offended by the suggestion, and a violent argument ensued. He put forward some very convincing arguments. He was able to see both sides of the argument. I can see a few problems with this line of argument. I can see no flaw in the argument as she has just explained it. I can see no flaw in your argument. I don't want to get into an argument with her. I had a big argument with my mother this morning. I was determined to win the argument. I'll briefly address each argument. In her closing argument, the prosecutor says that the hairs found on the defendant matched those of the victim. Jury was always the one who settled arguments between us. Let's assume, for the sake of argument, that we can't start still much. Minutes later, a violent argument erupted. She tried to think how to refute the argument on moral grounds. The argument over decentralization will probably continue forever. The author makes a compelling argument for the use of hydrogen as a fuel. The company dismissed his arguments as alarmist. The government's argument is always based on how much such a plan would cost. The proposal was accepted without further argument. The same argument applies to adoption. Their argument sounds plausible, but is it really valid? There is a very good argument for increasing spending on education. There is room for argument about precise figures. These arguments suggest that the medical establishment had an interest in suppressing the research. This argument could be applied to other contexts. This argument is developed further in the next chapter. We had an argument about what we should buy. What are the arguments in favor of change? An argument between her parents. An argument with his wife. Arguments concerning the nature of morality. The arguments against increasing taxes. The bitter arguments raising about who was the real winner. The language used to frame the legal arguments. After some heated argument, a decision was finally made. There are strong arguments for and against childhood vaccinations.